doing this. Alright, so we will talk about loops, right? So let's see, we get to do while first. In Java, we have three types of loops. We have do, while, and we also have another loop, which is what? For. And we also have while, right? Alright. Someone today said we need to have three things when you do the loops, right? First one is, can someone remind me again? Now initialize int I equal to 0. Initialize, right? Second, the expression or condition, right? We want to use while. This is where expression is going to go. I less than 10. What do you want to do? Someone said it's save time, right? Songlin. But you never get to the example, right? Like if I want to say hello world 10 times. You able to get to my live stream? Okay. It works fine, right? See, yeah, it works fine, right? Because I didn't test. So the third one is what? Increment. Or it doesn't have to be increment, like something to change the value of your initialization or I. In order to make it exit, otherwise it's going to loop forever, right? Because it's going to stay 0, right? If you don't have that. Like for example, if I don't have it, if I miss that one of these pieces, it's not going to work, loops, right? One of these three pieces. So like I just comment the increment or the change the value of I part. You see this keep looping forever. Why? Because I always 0, right? And it's always less than equal to 10, which is going to make it always true. And if someone said when loop is true, it's going to keep executing the statement, say hello world. Like said, someone said also, right, that it has to have three pieces. The last piece is make the value change to make it exit. Like in this case, we can change by increase by 1, meaning that we're going to print the statement 10 times instead of printing forever. Right, that is exit. So that's an example of simple while loop. And we said you can also do the same thing with different loops, right? For. So let's see, we're going to do the same thing with for. How do we do that? What I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy over. Go to for. initialize. So for syntax is initialized, and then expressions. You just take expressions next, put inside it. And last piece is changing the value of I, right? How do we change that? Right there, right? So that's done. That's 4. 3 main things also have to be done, right? But it happened to be done inside the expressions or inside the parentheses for condition. Often done in there, right? At the same time. That's why we have 3 of them here, right? Separated by semicolon. Now I see a lot of students making mistake by put semicolon like that. That means you end a 4 right away. So if you do like that, you end the 4 and then you print hello, then you only have one statement. Because you end the 4, you never have expression or the statement for the 4. So don't do that, right? You want to open curly braces, close, and then the statement that you want to do. Print hello world 10 times. So that is how you use for, right? Loop in Java. Alright, the next one is do while, right? Now, someone said do while, of course, it's correct too, right? Do while going to do at least once. So that make it distinct among the other loops, right? So let's take a look again. I'm going to take the code from while loop, copy over to do while, and change. So instead of while, we're going to replace with the word do. The rest is pretty much the same, and paste the expression later. That's why it's do before evaluating the expressions. It's always going to do at least once. Before it's going to express the expressions first. Like, it will never get into hello world if I equals to 10. Because this will make it false statements, right? Like we said, always true to do inside. 10 less than 10 is false. Because 10 will never be less than 10 if they're equals. If you run this, what do you get? Nothing, because it's never get to print. But let's look at do while. Before I change it to 10, let's run it first. It's going to print statement, the same thing, right? Hello world 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Same thing. Same thing, just like for and while loop. But if I change I equals to 10, the difference is here. It will never evaluate. It's still going to do at least once. Meaning what? If I run this statement, what will you get? 1 hello world. Because it's going to run it, print it, and evaluate it. That's why it's false. It never go back in the loop. So there's one difference between do while and for loop and while loop. So that is it is, right? It's going to do at least once. So that's why when you want to do just that, when you want to use do while, when you want to actually run the program at least once. So that's why sometimes it's not always true for the statements that hey, you can use them alternately, because it's not always true. Because you're going to run into a situation like I want to run the program at least once, like you used to while. Mm-hmm. Technically, if you look at another way, Hello World they all do the same. You can use do while, for, and while to do the same, to print Hello World 10 times. But you may run into the situation that I actually want to run the application at least once before I want to evaluate the expressions, which for and while will not supporting that. And it's very common. That expression is what I want to terminate the program when the user enter 0 to exit. That's why we want to just do, because we want to read in, right, the values. So to read in, we use scanner. And there are many other examples of the program that you will need it. But alternately, you can still do the same with for and while. It's just you just need to add more live codes. Like now, we said, like I said, when you change the value, doesn't have to be the increment anymore. We can change the value by read in from the keyboard, right? This example of loop is showing you in a situation that you don't need to have like 10 times increments. You can always make it infinite until the value changed by the user. So it's going to keep printing hello world until the user enters 0. Like if you think about, if you use for and while, how you going to change the value of I? You have to repeatedly do the next in twice before the loop and inside the loop. But for this one, you only do once. Because I want to read at least once to evaluate, right? And I want to print at least once. It's just all depending on the requirements of the application. Like in this case, it's fine to initialize this to 0 because it's going to get to re-evaluating again. You technically want to say Okay, let's run the program first. Alright, it's print once. If you enter 1, it's keep printing, or anything else can keep printing, any key, any number, pretty much, because it's int, until you hit 0. No more, right? Alright, so that's the difference between each loop. While loop, for loop, and do while. Oh, by the way, you can always watch this on YouTube channel, my channel. Okay, to review. It's streaming. So, just need to subscribe. You get notifications whenever it's on. And my channel is searched by my name, full name. So now let's come back to look at something about loops. We also said there is a statement called break. Alright, so let's go to while loop here. This guy will print hello world for 10 times, right? Oh, because of that 10, it will never print. So because it never made the statement to be true, now we change it to 0. So it's going to print and increment I 1, 2, 3, 0, so 0 to 9, that's 10 times, right? And exit when it's equals to 10 is false. It's the exit, just like I just showed you 10, it will never print. Now let's try this. Once we change the I equal to 0, it prints 10 times. Now let me put the I to print out 2, then we can see that we don't have to do counting by hands. We can frequently see by I 0 to 9 10 times, right? What happens if I insert break? So break just like the third increment, but it just make it out exit the program right away. Right, it just make it exit. So in this case, when you run application, it's going to print at least, print once, and the break is the one who make it exit. So the loop will never repeat. Like you normally want to use in the same scenario, like why we need that, right? If you want to loop, it doesn't make sense to use break, but we actually need it when you happen to run into a condition that you want to break. That's why we put in if. Right. Sometimes you want to repeat to do it until one condition, right, hit, and then you break. Now, what happens if let's say I, in this case, I is going to be always 0 to 10, right? So the good example for use if and break should be when you actually get input from the users to alternate values. Like in this example, we read in to get the I. And we said this one I where 0 is exit, right? And we can say, hey, when if I equals something else, also we exit. Let's say if I enter 100, it also exit, right? Equals comparison, right? So now we made a program to exit. Like if I enter a number something else that not 0 and 100, it still run. But if I enter 100, it stop. No more. It says exit because of the break. Or if you happen to read the record of student score, for example, and then you want to print out F whenever score less than 60, right? Or you want to break out of the loop no more when no more student score to read, something like that, right? So there are many situations. It depends on right when you want to use it. So that's a break example. Now come back to another statement, right? So what happens if I put continue?
Stop after the. So it's just gonna print out hello world 10 times. Just keep come up as there and then. Yeah, so you're just gonna print out hello world 10 times.
For this one, yeah, it's going to evaluate it, but it's just not really do anything because there's no statements come after it. But let's say if I have statement come after it. Alright, so when we don't have continue, right? It's technically it's going to print both 10 times, right? Hello and hi, right? Now when you put continue, you see it's going to say unreachable code because the next statement will never do. It will never reach that. Continue is going to bring it back and do it, the loop. So the better example for this is like this one, it happened to be increment, right? So that's why when it reached that, it just going to evaluate to 10, right? And exit. So if I equals 10, we're going to continue. So meaning that when we reach this, we already talk about I will be 10, right? It will never be 9, right? And when it do that, we want the program to keep continue, right? So let's see, I plus plus. So let me put a debugger here, toggle breakpoint, and let's watch the value of I at this point. And it's actually continue to evaluate I, so let me change a little bit. Now we do I. So it's reached 10, I turn it back to I turn it back to 9, right? Because when I hit that continuous stop, because it will just 10 again, exit, right? So now I make it change it to 9. Whenever it's 10, I just reduce it. Whenever it's 10, I just reduce it. And make it to mm, so it's going to keep continuing, right? And if we look at the value of I, we can right click and watch. I try to see if I can watch the values here. I have to do it before I run the program. Right click, highlight the I. It has to be the whole statement, I think. Alright, so I was looking for the debugger tools in Eclipse. They should have watch. Let me try this one. Yeah, I couldn't find on this one. Maybe the settings. When you right click, it should say watch. Alright, so let's see. I want to see the values of x here. Or I. I just try to drag and drop. Alright, I'll show you again next time then, because I have to configure the menu here first. It's not showing up in Eclipse. Right now, let's look at another example of continue. Yeah, that's pretty much in the loop again, right? So this program will print all the values, right, of j, but it's going to skip number 4 because we evaluate that when it's equal to 4, we continue. Meaning that the statement that come afterward, it will never do it. It will skip and go back to evaluate the loop again. That makes sense? Okay, that's another example. Everything that's come after this will be skipped because condition say, hey, continue, go back to the beginning. All right, so that's the example of how to use break and continue.